Do you two have to do that? So health-wise, are they doing things they would normally do? So she normally is a pain in the neck. This is completely normal. I can tell that she's fine. If she was stood in the corner with her head down, looking a bit sullen, I'd be like, what's going on with her? They're really stoic, zebras. They don't show any weakness if they can help it.
We're here in Bristol, in the UK, to meet Terry Hill, who's here to save and educate us on this species. Zebras, why do they have stripes?
Why do they have stripes? So I'm really lucky to be part of a huge research programme. Says the girl that left school at 15 and won GCSE. I get to work at Bristol University and Professor Tim Carrow, and the final outcome comes out to be to do with the tsetse fly. So the flies don't land on the zebras. They see their stripes as a bit of a more confusing runway, and they go towards them, and then they kind of use them as a runway and take off of them. So the reason they are striped from the research that has been done more recently is so that they are less likely to be bitten by the tsetse fly.
How much of your time will be going into training these zebras for health checks, that sort of thing?
So we spend time with them every day. Actually, the more times you can spend with them on smaller chunks. So if I can come in and do 5 times a day checking them of 1-minute sessions, I'll achieve loads. Positive reinforcement training, so they're offered a reward if they do something positive, and then we do that for about a minute and then we go away, and they'll do something called latent learning. So they'll think about what they've done and how they've achieved it and how they're going to get that treat and get it quicker or better next time. And they train really well, they work great. Bailey is obviously absolutely brilliant at doing that because she wants to be hugged and loved all the time, so she doesn't mind being poked and prodded. You can get a stethoscope on her and listen. When you want to introduce something new, so if you want to introduce a stethoscope, you have to wear it around your neck first of all and do all the normal things, but you bring something new in before you then put it in your ears. Everything is on very slow time frames where you introduce it until they're okay with it. So then they're convinced initially that that might be a gun and it's going to get them, because that's what happens. They get got, you know. Anything that's new, they get got. In the wild, things that are suspicious is normally there's a reason for it. But we do lots of work with enrichment, whether that's their favourite toy, which is a blue barrel that swings and hits them, or a hay ball feeder, or a mirror, or a tambourine they can bash, or a singing Somali wild ass. He does this about 4 o'clock in the morning as well.
I think that's something anyone who's looking to buy a wild ass should consider.
Yeah, definitely. They are a bit more crazy, that's for sure. The zebras, I would say, if I use the word easy in the term with zebras, doesn't go hand in hand, because there's nothing easy about them whatsoever. First of all, you have to have a dangerous wild animal licence to be able to keep one if you're in a private situation. They shouldn't be kept on their own. They don't mix with horses very well. They're not very nice to other species. People always think that, oh, I could get a zebra to go with my horse and I'll breed a zorse or a zonkey. And then when you actually look at the practicality of it, these guys are quite barbaric. In their mating rituals and in the way they react with each other, they're not nice. Say a zebra stallion is trying to kill a foal of the group that he has just moved on to be head of, so infanticide that happens, that's kind of survival of the fittest. He isn't going to look after somebody else's child. That's just what happens in the wild. And no one's going to jump off the safari cart and stop that happening.
The Somalian wild ass is a subspecies of the African wild ass. Both this subspecies and the species are critically endangered, with numbers dropping in the wild. They're found in Ethiopia, Eritrea, Sudan and Somalia. Conservationists around the world are working together to save this species with breeding programs around the world, such as this young male here today. The Somalian wild ass He's the ancestor of the domestic donkey. And he has a lot to say about it as well. Plain zebras, they're one of the 3 species of zebras. They have several different subspecies found throughout sub-Saharan Africa in grasslands and woodlands. These animals are extremely important to their ecosystem, where they can eat a lot more variety of different grass at different lengths. They pave way for other species of herbivores such as wildebeest and Thompson's gazelle, which are more specialised in the grass they eat. Not just striped donkeys, these are wild, dangerous animals. We've seen now a couple of times we've had to move away.
Yeah.
Because she's lovely, Bailey.
Yeah.
But she's got a kick what can kill.
Absolutely,
lion, so.
yeah. So their fight and flight instinct is massive. If something frightens these here now, they are going to run straight through us. Fortunately, they nearly always run to the highest point and home, which is why their home is at the highest point of their enclosure. When we built it, we did put a little bit of thought into it. And it's unlikely that anything will massively frighten them from there because they're so used to it. So I kind of know that where we're stood, we're okay. They've got a big gap behind us to run to. But they are fight and flight animals. So if I corner one and it thinks it can't get out and it feels that I'm a threat, it will attack me until it thinks I am no longer a threat to it. So they take a lot of time and they take a lot of care, and you should know what you're doing with them as well, really. They're not pets. Although they train very well, Bailey is absolutely brilliant. The other guys are well on their way to training as well. They're not good pets. Most of the time they don't care about you. They want the food and that's it. Say hi. So I'm Bailey. I'm 20. Wow. And I came from Ireland.
An Irish zebra.
She was born at Fota, and then she went to Dublin Zoo. And then she was given to me because her and her brother, which is Murphy, who's coming along now, and you can tell him because he's got the nick out of his ear. They were tormenting the rhinos.
There's a lot of cloud over private keepers, and there's a little difference between people keep them as pets. How does you think that affects you and other private keepers who want to do that?
I think for the zoo community, look at private keepers very sceptically because the majority of them do have them as pets. And then someone like me comes along and is a little bit of an anomaly and incredibly rare. So I don't mind being lumped into a sceptical outlook on life, because I get to prove that I can do it bigger and better and differently, and I can help. And I do get to work with the conservationists, and I do get to do some really good stuff. And I've had to put the legwork in to do it. So nothing that's worth doing really is easy. I'm quite happy to work hard and to put hard work in. There are some really bad keepers out there that do some really horrible things, and it's not nice. But there are some great keepers as well. I've joined BIASA, so I also am in ABWAC, which is the Association of British and Irish Wild Animal Keepers. I absolutely never think that I know everything. I know lots, but I'm dead keen to learn as much as I can from anybody that's seen anything to do with a zebra, and even actually if it's a mixed species exhibit, so I can learn about other species that will mix well with zebras. I know some brilliant private keepers that are doing just that. They take in rescued animals, animals that have been pets that people are bored with and don't want, and they've got great collections and look after them amazingly. So those people are really good. I think if I can inspire anyone who loves any wild or domestic species, because they all should be looked after to the best of anybody's ability, to do their research, to do their homework. You know, I did as much work as I could to find out as much as I possibly could, and then I visited, and then I asked questions. And everybody loves a curious kid or a curious adult. If you are enthusiastic about what you want to know, you might be asking them what that gets fed, and you might think, oh, that's really tedious. But just because you're actually asking, you're interested in their animal, whether that's an aardvark, a binturong, a zebra, or even the really small stuff, the inverts, all of those things that aren't my bag, they are somebody's bags. And I know some brilliant keepers that look after all of the reptile type animals, and they are so passionate. They will love the fact that you have just asked that question about their animal, and they will think that they've given you a little nugget and a little bit of enthusiasm to go home with.